applause, hand ready. All the way from Singapore, Pouch. Boom. Actually, and Jakarta.
Can you hear me? Sorry. Thank you. Hello, everybody. My name is Ilya, and I'm the CEO of Pouch, a mobile loyalty app that managed to subscribe more than 730 locations across Southeast Asia. But let's see what it's all about. We all know what a traditional loyalty card is. However, imagine when you start to accumulate 5 or even 10 of those cards. It becomes a problem. Your wallet is becoming bigger, you forget them at home, and the whole loyalty concept just stops working. So we came up with a solution. The solution is called Pouch. Pouch is an app that integrates traditional loyalty cards on one device, which is your smartphone. But let's see how it all works. So first of all, from a merchant perspective, a customer enters a store and he buys his sandwich or his coffee. Afterwards, he is given a simple QR code, which he scans with his Pouch app and collects his stamp in a digital way. So no more paper involved. But let's see what is the peculiarity of our product and how it differentiates to our competitors. We operate in emerging markets such as Indonesia and Philippines, where internet connection is extremely bad. So we came up with some unique features that none of our competitors currently have. First of all, the app can work online and offline. This guarantees a smooth stamp collection and redemption process. Secondly, the app can be downloaded using a peer-to-peer solution. This means, again, no need of internet connection, just from phone to phone. And lastly, we have a unique security algorithm that identifies and blocks any type of fraud activity. But let's see a bit more. What is the business case behind? Who is going to pay for this service? Is it the final customer or is it the merchant? For the customers, everything is for free. So it's a merchant who is going to pay based on a subscription based. But why is the merchant who is willing to pay for this type of service? First of all, no need of printing traditional paper loyalty cards, one costs less. Secondly, for the first time, we provide the merchant detailed customer analytics. So the merchant can understand how the customers behave and what do they prefer. And lastly, as from one side, we already have the customer profiling, and from the other side, we have a platform. The merchant can actually advertise his product using targeted mobile advertising. But let's see more about the potential of this product in Southeast Asia. We estimate that currently the potential of this product is about $500 million. So far, we launched it in Philippines and Indonesia, and we managed to subscribe 730 locations. And what is more interesting about it, more than 70% of our stores are paying ones. But I want to stress a little bit more on the customer acquisition side. We also subscribed recently 2 major partnerships. One with a leading telco operator, which guarantees us access to more than 50 million users. And second, a handset manufacturer, which in the next week is going to pre-install our app on more than 1.5 million devices. So in order to execute on those partnerships, currently we're raising $750,000, and we already have one investor committed, who is the co-founder of Skype. With this, I would like to conclude the pitch. Thank you very much for your attention.
Woo! So, yeah, I was like, when he was talking about the market, and then he like, in an initial, I do a lot of prep work, and he sort of mentioned in passing all this cool shit about working offline and peer-to-peer. I'm like, you gotta highlight that. That's cool. Like, that's what. Anyway, questions.
Will you offer more than just the loyalty card management to the merchants? Will you provide loyalty services or other, actually administer programs for them today or in the future?
So basically, the merchant can actually decide what type of rewards they can decide their own loyalty program, right? And they can do it everything online. So, I mean, so far we still kind of help them in the whole process of define how much rewards they have to give, and we push for a certain type of discounts of at least 30%, so that it is actually attractive for the customer. So we don't want to give like really small rewards that nobody uses it. So we do push them, and we do advise them on how to structure the programs.
Can you tell us a little bit about the other side of the equation, the customer side? How many customers have joined, and,
Sure.
and what's the usage pattern look like so far?
So far, again, we launched about 4 months ago in Indonesia and about 2 months ago in Philippines. We have 40,000 active users on our platform. Again, this is with no marketing spent, so it's everything organic. That's why we are, now the plan is to, through these partnerships, to accelerate everything and to bring it to a bigger scale.
Is it a single QR code that is being used, and how do you prevent that from being gamed?
So basically how it works, to each store, we are giving to each store unique QR codes, right? So they are different from store to store. And then we have a security algorithm that identifies certain type of fraud pattern. I cannot tell you what type of parameters we have in our algorithm, but it blocks you from taking a picture from the QR code and trying to scan it multiple times and so on. So we have certain parameters that block the fraud activity. But further on, what we are trying to do also, we are trying to integrate with the point of sale. So the QR code is going to be unique generated on each transaction and printed on the receipt. And this will also be a self-marketing tool. So no need to market, you just get your receipt and you have your QR code and written download pouch and get your reward. So we have already a pilot project for that.
And what are the merchants paying per location?
So again, it varies a bit country by country, and it varies from the size of the merchant. So if the merchant is bigger, we're giving discount. So usually the subscription is $30 per store per month for a basic program. However, if they want more analytics, if they want more advertising, if they want more additional add-ons, that's where we charge more. And we see that advertising is something which they are very interested in because it can be very targeted and location specific.
And have you targeted the smaller merchants that don't have their own loyalty programs yet, or are you getting some traction with the bigger guys?
It doesn't matter. So actually, we both target. I mean, at the beginning, of course, we started with smaller stores, right? Because just to get to know ourselves. But now we have like bigger chains. One of our big chains is 200 stores, and what we also discovered by working, we work directly with malls. So we subscribe an entire mall, and the mall pushes down the programs on all its merchants. So we have brands like Starbucks working with us due to the fact the mall pushed the program down on them.
Tell us a little about the $750,000 you say you'll need to execute the partnerships. What does that actually mean?
What does it mean? Like, where are we going to use
the proceeds?
Yeah.
How will you spend it?
So first of all, we are trying to integrate with the telco player, the back end. So whenever you're going to buy your mobile credit, you can actually transform your credit into stamps. So there's a little bit of product development work, which we are going to hire additional IT resources in order to do that. So that's number one. Of course, how it works, if when, for example, Indosat is the telco player that we are going to work with. They are asking us to run the program, right? So we'll need to hire some additional, sales and customer care people, which in those markets are still relatively cheap. So we still think that this amount is enough to manage those. So again, managing product development and additional staff in order to sustain the program.
You guys ready to vote? All right, that was. I'm a bit nervous but excited. 2 4s and a 5. You guys ready? All right, 1, 2, 5. Oh, all right. 3 4s, 2 2s. That's still pretty good. I mean, so far the voting is good. I've been in there. There's been ones in the past. So that not quite as good because there's a 5. Should we start positive, Ho? You switched from negative to positive, right?
Yeah, no, I think it's an interesting idea. I could see why merchants would want this. I mean, there's a reason why the big guys spend a lot of money managing their loyalty programs, and the small to mid-sized guys can't do it. So I'm intrigued. I don't know enough about that market, Southeast Asia retail market, but it's a big enough market. One of the companies we seeded a long time ago was Demantech, which sold to all the big retailers. And some of these guys will pay a lot of money for this kind of a thing. So
And you have an LP base in Asia, right?
we do,
Some.
yeah. We invest in Korea as well, yeah. So it's an interesting idea, yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
I have a background in loyalty, started 2 loyalty companies, one in India that has 30 million members, and sold the first one to United Airlines, second one to American Express. So I could talk for hours about it, but I won't. I think the retail segment and administering programs in an automated fashion is a wide open opportunity. It's an extremely difficult challenge. 730 stores actually really great start. I've met with dozens and dozens of companies trying to do the same thing, and most have not nailed the distribution challenge, and most top out at a couple hundred before they realize it's just too costly to acquire the merchants. So clearly something's working, and that's why I gave you a good score. But it's a long road, and you need a lot of creativity around marketing, distribution, go-to-market, and it's 750K is definitely not going to be enough, but
He's in Asia, though. That's a lot of money over there. You can buy, like, half the country. No, I'm kidding. Well, it's Indonesia. Maybe a third of the country. Will you talk with him offline, Noah?
Sorry?
Will you talk with him offline?
Absolutely. I'm glad to talk to you later. So yeah.
Great.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I would say the same thing. I've seen a lot of companies trying to go after loyalty in multiple different geographies. Most don't get to the scale that you have especially on the merchant side, this quickly. I agree that it's a tough nut to crack, but it's a big one. So I think I'm rooting for you and to be able to win. I love the fact that you're addressing the countries as they are. So dealing with the offline problem is a real bonus. I don't see that very often. So you're really thinking about where they are today and taking that step. So I think it's a very positive.
Thank you.
So the reason I was a 2 is because I think these businesses fundamentally come down to a distribution problem. And if you end up getting a large number of merchants and you get to critical mass, then it works. But I've just seen way too many companies pursuing exactly the same idea, and I'm hard pressed to see what's different between them. And the reason I was even asking about the QR code and I guess the stuff that you said you can't talk about, I would have liked to hear more about that to actually know whether what you're doing has some interesting tech behind it.
Well, I'm sure he could talk about it offline.
Right. But
He just doesn't want it on camera so that all the hackers in Indonesia are like, I suddenly have Starbucks for life.
but fundamentally, just a distribution problem and highly crowded space is the reason for my kit.
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with Manu. I mean, I think it is a big opportunity, but it is like a distribution question. And I was hoping to hear. I mean, you've done a great job, and so I don't want to take away from that. But I am waiting for that magic distribution story, and I just haven't heard it.
So let me ask, so 730 is a somewhat big number. What would be like the number that really got you excited?
It wasn't the number.
It
wasn't actually a number thing. Like at a certain point, like the number, so you're right. There's a certain number that'd be magical and like the company would be huge. But I was hoping more for a distribution story that I would then have some insight to.
Sustainable story more than a
this
specific
resonates.
number. But I mean, if he said 3,000 stores, would that have like moved you up? Like, what's that? Just out of curiosity, is there some number?
Not for me, because for me, like I typically shy away from the traction-based things. And I look for like some kind of fundamental technology reason why this thing will succeed.
So that's why you want to know how.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
I mean, I don't know if that's a certain number, because I mean, when we did Demantech, it had 0 stores, so you have way more stores than when we invested in that company. And the investment thesis was that we thought that the value proposition was very compelling, and we were making a leap of faith that, hey, these retailers, we're going to deliver so much value that we're going to be able to sell to them. And you've already shown that you could sell to some of these guys. I'd be interested to know, dig in to really understand the value proposition to see whether or not you could go from 700 stores to 70,000 stores, right? But $30 a month is not bad. I mean, it's pretty interesting.
especially for that market. All right, well, let's end on a positive note.
Thank you.